So recently I was reading Peter Drucker, The Effective Executive, a really old book written in the 1960s. And he mentioned this interesting thing that, the performance of the executive team under a person will never exceed the level of performance of the boss, the manager himself. So if you want to get the most out of people, then you can't do that without raising your own standards as the leader of the group, of the team. And it kind of makes obvious sense. Like when the boss is not intense, then everybody else gets demoralized. Like, why are we working so hard, right? Or why are we putting our best step forward when the person on top is not putting in any effort, right? I mean, it's not a bullet, like a silver bullet, but because there are aspects where you can make people work hard through incentives and have them, push the CEO harder. But in general, I believe that, for most kinds of work, that's the way that the company, the world really works, where people work hard because the CEO works, the leader works harder. So, and that's what I've been thinking about, like, how much of, like, if people under me are not performing, and there's been a case or two recently where I felt like the performance of a person was not like really up to my standard, and my first thought was like, should I fire this person, or should I diagnose the problem that happened? Like, what could I do better as a manager or as a leader? Like, how could I improve it? Is it that I have to increase my performance even further, and then they will see the difference and they'll catch up? Or is it that they're just not capable of performing at that high level and they need to be let go and find somebody else, respectfully, of course. I've made a video before about how to fire people in a good way. So maybe they need to be let go, and then I need to find somebody else who is capable of making up that difference in intensity. Let's just put it that way, right? For some people, I think people are intense or they're not in different, some people are just never intense, and some people are intense in certain contexts, and very few people are intense all the time, which are the true people that nobody can be intense in everything all the time. Like, that's just a fiction. Like, that's just fucking fiction. Nobody, Elon Musk cannot win the pole vaulting Olympics, right? Like, yeah, he's not the fittest person, the healthiest person. He's not taking his health that seriously. He's doing drugs and shit. Like, so you can't have one person being intense in everything. But like, yeah, some people are just never intense. They just don't treat anything with intensity except for maybe online shopping or planning their wedding or stuff like that. And I think these are the type of people that usually need to be kind of like let go from the company. And some people have, I'm just repeating myself, but yeah, that's always as a manager, you have to think about what could you do differently before you could say what could the employee do differently, and also another factor there is that we're a remote team. I never truly enjoyed being building a remote company, even though there are many advantages to that. But recently it's just been realizing that I think there's a time and place for being remote, and there's a time and place when you need to just buckle down, build a team around you in person, and go as hard as you can, right? I'm not saying that remote teams cannot work hard, but I think they have to have this social fabric from the beginning, that we're all in and we're all working on the same thing and we're all working all day long every day and fully committed to the company, right? So having like a full-time all in-person team, I believe is, with I believe that is the best, that is the way forward for Denslears, for my company as a whole as well. And it's also the better way to build a culture where you have a team of people who have worked together. You know each other, you're friends, you have lived and struggled and created this culture together, and eventually you can work remotely, but you're all friends. When you get together on a call, it's all fun and games and everything. So I don't know how to build that kind of a culture remotely. Maybe you could do that if you get somebody who's fully on board and a full-time person. I haven't really hired a legit full-time person in a long time, and I feel like that is part of the reason why I feel this lack of intensity from the people, because I've mostly hired like part-time people or freelancers, depending on the funds and stuff like that. But even though we're well funded, but just I'm a very conservative budgeter and conservative spender when it comes to corporate expenses. I'm a baniya, right? I'm a baniya from India, so that's just how I think. I'm really cheap when it comes to certain types of expenses, and so we've had really good fiscal management at Density. That's something I'm proud of, and we're very, very far from running out of money. But at the same time, I feel like having a dedicated full-time team member who is all in with you, I think that's something which needs to happen now at Density. I'm going to hire probably the first full-time person now, the next person I hire, and this person will probably be, I'm not yet sure if it's going to be remote or is it going to be in person, because then there's commute and like all this shit like that you have to do, right? But I don't think you can change history while mostly working remotely, no matter where you are, by calling it in, just being on your own, whatever. So if you want people who are intense, then you need that energy to be created. But anyway, yeah, that's update at Denslears. I'm thinking about leadership performance versus employee performance, and I'm thinking about remote versus on-site, and I'm also thinking about what else did I mention? Like full-time, part-time, and the difference it makes to the energy and the culture and the speed at which you move. And yeah, that's the video.